Welcome to Mamamia Out Loud. It's what women are actually talking about on Friday, the 10th of October. I'm Holly Wainwright.
I'm Jessie Stevens.
And I'm Stacey Hicks, filling in for Em Burnham. You might have heard me on Parenting Out Loud, which drops every Saturday.
And here's what's made our agenda for today. There's an actual princess married to a shaman and a Generation X princess whose new boyfriend is a dead-set manifesting guru. Is woo-woo dude the new status celebrity boyfriend?
Plus, there's a very convincing case for opening a joint bank account with your friends.
And the essay that made me wonder if having kids is morally wrong. I am desperately going to try and launch a defense I haven't quite worked out yet. But first, in case you missed it, people are no longer job hopping, they're job hugging, according to recent research from Bold HR. So job hugging is when an employee stays in a role even if they're unhappy or they're finding the role unfulfilling. They clutch on for dear life. And workplace expert Rebecca Horton says leaders should be really worried about this. Like, this isn't a good thing because it's driven by risk aversion, economic anxiety, and a lot of it is to do with fear of AI. People are feeling unstable within their industries and they're going, got to hold on here. It makes people really burnt out. She says everyone is tired, and it can be a workplace nightmare because these people are disengaged and that can impact productivity. Experts warn as well that these types of employees aren't loyal. Like, don't confuse job hugging for loyalty, because the second the job market changes, they're all out at once.
Remember just after COVID, when it kind of, there was the post-COVID flush and suddenly the job hopping thing was big. And it was like, everybody was like, I'm living my best life now. I've learned what matters to me and I'm going to jump around. And now we're all like, the robots are coming. And we're like, I'm holding on for dear life.
Yeah. And it felt like the golden number was like 2 years. Remember, like, you never really stayed in a place for more than 2 years. That's what we were told. You had to go to the next, keep increasing your salary.
And it was, a lot of people were leaving jobs without another job lined up.
Yeah.
Which I was always in awe of, because it's like they just went, I will jump in the parachute.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah. Something will help.
The thing about hugging, so the term job hugging, and I understand the fact that this can be a negative thing because, if you are over where you work, it's better to leave, let's be honest, or you're over the job you're doing there. Better from everyone that you leave, even though employers would like you to stay longer than 2 years, ideally, because a lot of investment goes into finding you, training you, etc. But job hugging, if that hug is real and it comes with love and kisses and you really love it, then sure, hug the job, right? But it's if the hug is fake and you're keeping your groins away from
exactly.
it. Like,
So this is how you can tell. Some people really like their job. My dad has been doing the same job for something like 30 years, right? It's great.
If it's not broke,
it's not.
Hug it.
Exactly. Hug it tight. Take that money. But if there was a psychologist interviewed in this article, and she said, if you get a lot of anxiety on a Sunday night, if you're irritable, if you are bored, and if you feel trapped, then they're all signs that you're hugging rather than just happy with where you are. Are you guys noticing this even among friends and stuff?
I think so, but I have a theory that it's not because of stability. I feel like it's flexibility that people are holding on to, because you know how if you just started a job, you couldn't go in on the first day and say, oh, do you mind if I work from home because I've got a doctor's appointment at 2 p.m? I'm good for it. Like, you have to kind of earn the goodwill for flexibility.
That's so true.
And so I think if you're in a position where you have that, you're trusted, then you go, well, I'm onto a good thing here, so I'm not going to move somewhere else where I've got to prove myself first.
And apparently all the stats say as well that job mobility is down. Like, people aren't going, like, they genuinely aren't hopping. That's just, I think, all over the world, and that's because of, the economic climate right now.
But that makes sense about the flexibility, because obviously there's been a big push back into the office. And if you already negotiated, if you're at that, because at different points in your career, different things are important to you. Sometimes you'll take flexibility over more money. Sometimes you'll take extra holiday days, etc. And other times you're just like, absolutely not. It's all about the dollar bills. I mean, it's always about the dollar bills, but you know what I mean? So if you've got a young family and stuff, flexibility is very important. If you have been somewhere where you've agreed 2 days in, 3 days out or whatever, and then you're like, I know if I jump, they'll use it as not an excuse, but a reason to go 5 days in, you're like,
Yeah, you'd have to negotiate that all over again. So why do it?
A few years ago, they were talking about like quiet quitting, and there was bare minimum Mondays. We
Yes.
talked about that on the
Yes.
show. And acting your wage was the other thing. And I was reading all of those and I was like, I think they're totally compatible with job hugging. I think you can do
Yeah.
all of those things without leaving your job. Lots of these people have probably quietly quit, but sometimes you just got to work for the money.
Okay, I've got a theory, but before I explain the theory to you, I need to start with a bit of a recommendation.
Okay.
Have either of you two watched The Royal Rebels on Netflix?
No.
No,
Jessie,
but
I'm
it sounds
offended.
great.
I've been telling Jessie
Has the
to
word
watch
royal
it.
in it.
I've been telling Jessie to watch it for weeks, so I'm offended. But
I
that's okay.
started Slow Horses.
Oh,
Has anyone watched Slow Horses?
Slow Horses is amazing.
It's really good.
Did you start at season 1?
Oh, I did.
Mate, it's one of the best things on TV.
Oh, well, there's a bonus
So
recommendation.
there you go. Some of my recommendations are good.
I'm going to add
She's
them
tough.
both to my list, Hole.
She's tough. All right. So what The Royal Rebels is, it's one of those PR documentaries that we talked about the other week, procumentaries.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Like David Beckham's.
yeah, very well made. It's like a movie length documentary directed by the person who won an Emmy for doing The Tiger King. So very classy, well-made doco, but made 100% with the cooperation of the royals in question. And the royals in question, it's about a Norwegian princess. So she's not first in line. So she's a bit like Prince Harry in that she could be the more rebellious one, right? Called Martha Louise. And it follows the lead up to her second marriage to a shaman called Durick Verrett.
Holly, this is probably something I should know by this age, but what is a shaman?
Oh, no, please ask. I have been dying to tell you. So a shaman is a spiritual practitioner. So like also could be a priest or a priestess, not in the traditional religious sense, right? Who might counsel, might preach, often enters, and you see Durick doing this during the show, like an altered state of consciousness while doing it, right? To communicate with the spirit world and pull you through whatever problems you've got. They claim sometimes that they can heal the sick, they can manifest, they can guide souls. And he, of course, Durick, which makes him all the more fun, Durick Verrett, he's called, is a Hollywood shaman. And among his clients in the past have been my friend, Gwyneth Paltrow.
Of course.
Yeah.
Is Durick white?
No, so Durick is from California.
Okay.
So he's American, but he is a man of color.
Mm-hmm.
He says his heritage is mixed and it includes Haitian, African, Native American, so a mixture,
Yeah.
but he is a man of color. And he was the first Black man to marry into a European royal family. So he's a shaman. He is a Black man. He also is, this is just relevant in terms of how much he stirred the pot in the European royal world, not in any other way. And he is also not straight. He has in the past dated guys, and now he describes himself as a soul sexual. And he also talks very openly about that. He's attracted to people's souls. And the person whose soul he was attracted to that's made him the subject of this documentary is our mate, Martha Louise. She's 53 years old. She is a grown-up lady. She's got 3 kids from her first marriage, all of whom are delightful and are also in this. They're like young adults now. And she is, what you get from this documentary is they are both kind of eccentric free spirits, but they are lovely. She is lovely, like just the loveliest, right? But she herself has always been a big searcher. So she had all through her life, obviously she had loads of press on her in Norway, just like all the royals do in their home countries. And she's always been the rebel. So she's always explored alternative therapies. She's got an angel healing clinic. I don't know what that is, but anyway. The thing that this doco is great because it basically follows them. They've been dating now since 2018, so quite a long time. It follows them as they decide to get married and get married. And it's got all the really juicy ingredients. Basically, Martha Louise is like, let's just have a quiet little wedding. And Durick's like, absolutely not. He's like, if I'm going to be the first Black man to marry into Scandinavian royalty, I want all the bells and whistles. Hypervisibility, like why not, right? So they have this big fancy wedding. At one point, the King of Norway has to come out and make a statement because the press, of course, are horribly racist against him and also suggesting that he's blackmailing her, that there's something really dodgy about him. And the King of Norway comes out at one point and issues a statement to the press telling them all to pull their heads in and that they are being racist, this was all happening around the same time as Harry and Meg's. And Harry actually called out that statement at one time and said, I wish my family would do this, but they won't.
Really?
So this was all going on at the same time.
Okay.
But it's really good doco and I couldn't recommend it enough. But it's also very interesting, which leads me to my theory, in that watching this woman who could pretty much have dated anyone in the world, right? In terms of the fact she's got status, she's got money, she's charismatic, attractive, she's got her kids out of the way, she's is choosing this very interesting, eccentric, spiritual leader. Which brings me to our friend Jennifer Aniston. One could argue a different kind of princess. Generation X princess.
Absolutely.
Holly's princess.
Yeah, Holly, my princess. Princess Jen. She's got a new boyfriend and he's called Jim Curtis. They've been seen together since June this year. Lots of photographs, a bit of hand-holding, holidays, dinners, etc., etc. Jessie, who the hell is Jim Curtis? Tell the people.
He's a 49-year-old hypnotist.
Yes.
Is Jim Curtis. He, look, his Instagram following has skyrocketed. He's now in the 600,000s.
He'd be happy with that.
His bio is, my mission is to help you heal and strive by upgrading your I am. And I don't understand that. I don't think
is this, does he do like manifest and stuff? Yeah, because that's what Durek's doing on his Instagram too. Every day gives you a prayer, a manifestation. You get to choose a crystal.
And that's the thing, right, is that at first I went, oh, yeah, all right, Jim. And then I watched a few and I went, I feel inspired. What can I say? Because he said, this was one I saw today, reflect on a story you have told more than once in the past month. Is that story empowering? If not, let it go.
Oh.
Wow, Jim. Wow.
I feel attacked and sing. Thank you, Jim.
Equal measure.
Jim. So he is a hypnotist. And this is part of a broader trend, right? Because Holly, we were talking, you've been wanting to talk about Jennifer Aniston's boyfriend since the moment you saw this news. And you said it's the new Silicon Valley tech bro.
Yes.
He's out of favor right now, right? We've just gone, you've not done good things to the planet. We don't trust you anymore. Yeah. Miranda Kerr married one. And now there's this shift towards this ultra spiritual, witchy woo-woo partner, which says something about status, right? So remember Andrew Garfield was with the witch.
Yes, the witch doctor.
The witch.
I forgot about
that. A professional witch is how she referred to herself.
And then they broke up. And then Brad Pitt, after Angelina Jolie, also dated a spiritual guru named Sathari Khalsa. And she was did jewelry and stuff, but she was also very, very spiritual. Katy Perry titled her album her Angel Numbers. Hollywood is leaning into this. Gwyneth Paltrow always adjacent. She has every type of healer, every type of crystal. And Jennifer Aniston, I think it's important because it was the same with your Norwegian princess. They've always been woo.
Yeah.
Right? Jennifer Aniston has always loved a psychic.
Yeah.
She's always loved a crystal. And it's almost like during uncertain times, maybe it would be nice being with someone who appears to have access to a higher power and they're like, everything's fine. Yeah. Everything's going to be okay.
Well, famously, the poor celebrities have really tough lives. So
exactly.
They really do
they need someone to hold their hands.
Some help through. You're
well,
right.
But look at it this way, right? These are people who have reached a level of financial security and stuff that the rest of us are like, well, that'd be nice, we think. But also we're like, oh, you'd have nothing to worry about. But they clearly still have plenty of things to worry about, right? But that's not one of them. And they might have a lot of healers on their payroll. I remember Elizabeth Gilbert saying on that press tour for her book that she recently did that before she got sober, as she and when I say sober, I just mean because it was from Love and Sex Addiction. She said the number of healers I had on my payroll between my therapists and my psychologists and then my energy healer and my psychic and my this and my that. She's like, I was paying a small army of people to just help me get through the day. And I reckon that would not be unusual in these circles. Yeah. So they're going to rub up against the charismatic, sexy healers.
It's very LA as well. So this Jim apparently wants to be the next Oprah. That's some gossip I read.
If I wanted to be the next Oprah, I would date Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah. She's friends with Oprah, of course. And also
talk about manifestation.
Yeah. I know. He has manifested so hard. He also has a book idea. And do you want to hear what the title of the book is?
Please.
How Jennifer Aniston Fixed My Broken Heart.
Oh, he does.
That's what I read on Yahoo. Okay?
If he does that, he is out. Jen is not going to hang around for that. She would have to be so certain. If you're Jennifer Aniston and you've been through all that she has been through, the tabloid trials and tribulations, the 20 million, she's pregnant, miracle twins, da-da-da-da-da. Oh, poor her. She's been wronged again. The Angelina, like if you've been through all that, the last thing you want is a guy who's going to write a book about you.
Yes, but then I did read.
But she's under the spell.
That's the thing. I did read a comment that said cluck like a chicken if you need help.
Yeah. Andrew Garfield's professional witch girlfriend got accused of putting a love spell on him until they broke up, obviously. But maybe the same's happening.
That's the thing. People aren't trustworthy because they're like, has he cast a spell on her? And then everyone went and looked at his Instagram and they were like, no, he's just really hot.
Yeah.
I think that he's just got a lot to offer,
He is quite
actually.
attractive. I think you would feel safe. I think, to your point earlier, Jessie, I think you've nailed it. I think it's funny that you're suggesting these people are charlatans when you were the ones who made us all get our tarot cards read live on the podcast. But I think that, to your point earlier, I think that in an uncertain world, that tech bros are definitely on the nose. Other like middle-aged male Hollywood actors are also very, like, think about how the Gen X male celebrities have fared in recent years, like your Brads and your Johnny Depps, and you're like, ick, no. Ugh. Whereas this rich seam, this untapped rich seam of handsome, hot, very in-shape healers, I think you'd feel very safe. I predict that Nicole Kidman's going to be next in line for this.
I was about to say this, Holly Wainwright. I was like, who needs some witchy woo-woo in her life is Nicole Kidman. And there is 6 degrees of separation, maybe even 3 to Jennifer Aniston because they have mutual friend Reese Witherspoon. They surely are mixing in the same circles. So this witchy man can get someone new for Nicole.
Does your hypnotist boyfriend know any other hypnotists?
Yes, surely.
I hope you've enjoyed this this installment of scurrilous gossip about woo-woo celebrities.
And can I throw in one more tarot card prediction that came true?
Oh,
yes.
While we're here.
While we're here. So she said I was going to have a boy. We discovered we know at least one boy, right? The other thing she said is she kept saying, you're going on a holiday. It's going to be to a city. It's going to be to a city. And I was like, no, I've got a holiday booked and it's beachy. Anyway, over the weekend, had to pull the plug on that holiday. And now it looks like we're going somewhere a little bit more city. Okay? So I'm just like, she
got it right.
She's just always spot on. So I'm also a bit witchy. I'm leaning into the witchy. Is it immoral to have a baby? Is the decision ultimately self-interested? And how does one square bringing children into the world given the threat of climate change?
Just a few little questions for Friday afternoon.
Look, bleak. I know it's bleak.
No,
but there was a brilliant essay by Bree Lee published by the ABC recently that really got me thinking. So she says that we've seen this rise in the pronatalist movement. So think Elon Musk with his at least 14 kids. Vladimir Putin has set up an award in Russia for women who have 10 children in less than 10 years, like it's some sort of competition.
Far out. She's tired. She needs an award. I hope that award's at Snickers bar or something.
Yeah. I think also maybe an appointment to a pelvic floor physio after all of that. Every religion, as well as every economic policy, tells us that having kids is a good thing, right? But alongside pronatalism has been another taboo movement growing over the last 20 or so years, and it is called anti-natalism. David Benatar is the world's most prominent anti-natalist, and he says that having kids is morally wrong. All it does is create more suffering. That child doesn't exist yet, so you can't be having kids for their sake. They're not consenting to being created. Given climate change is bringing with it extreme heat, food shortages, conflict, I could go on. They will face conditions worse than our own.
Oh, Jesus, is this making you feel really anxious? Because you're brewing a couple of babies in there?
Exactly right. And I will say, I meant to have one. So don't come for me, anti-natalist.
I think it's okay. I think that's okay. But yeah, I don't want you to get anxious about his predictions. Anyway, go on.
I feel sick saying all of that out loud, but I think saying it out loud, like I think most people with kids are thinking it anyway. Abby Chatfield posted a similar question on TikTok a few weeks ago. Here's what she asked.
Parents, don't get mad when I ask you this, okay? I have an actual question for you, and I'm asking this in the most earnest way possible. This is not a gotcha. This is a genuine question to parents or people who are pregnant or people who have decided to have a baby, like you're doing IVF or something, people who either have had a baby or have decided to have a baby in the past year or two, okay? How do you rationalize having a baby with the climate crisis?
I would love to ask you both the same question, Holly.
I think it's a fair question to ask, right? Like I genuinely do. Any question that you have to do that much setup about
You know it's going to piss
believe
people off.
me, I work in the same world. I know, but like if you have to set the question up that many times, then you know it's going to piss a lot of people off. And I have not seen the responses to that, but I can only imagine. So Bree Lee is an author, a writer who is. I think she's extraordinarily good. She writes really interesting offbeat stuff. And her new novel is called Seed. I've read it. I blurbed it because I really liked it. And it explores this. But she says that she very deliberately made the protagonist in the book, who is a passionate anti-natalist who ticks all the boxes you said, Jessie, basically thinks that it's an immoral choice to breed, that people are inherently greedy and, you know, would just trample all over everything to further ourselves, is a man. She deliberately made him a man because she knew that if she made that protagonist a woman, because it's fiction, the criticism would just all be about her and whether or not she personally wants to have a baby or personally doesn't, which is not something she wants to discuss. She wants to discuss the idea. The problem with trying to be, and it's a very good book, but the problem, which is represented by how many setups Abby had to do in that question, is about asking a very intellectual, very theoretical, very philosophical question about such a personal, primal decision. It's almost impossible to separate them. I can probably separate them a bit more now because my kids are older, but that's not to say that this wasn't all around then too. Like my youngest is 13. Certainly the climate crisis has been a thing. My mum has always been very much, she's very, you know, outspoken boomer that she is. You should never have more than two. Sorry, Jessie, you're going to help.
But it's okay, Jessie. I only have one. So you and
between
I have
us.
balanced each other out.
We've
It's
got,
fine.
yeah.
Like selfish, greedy, blah, 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 blah. She doesn't say it like that. But you know, replace yourselves has always been that theory.
Yep.
So this argument's been going on for a long time. I don't feel attacked by this idea, but what I do understand is that this concept sort of exposes my limitations because I feel deeply for the state of the world, but I also have to look at my kids and kind of think, and I know this is very imperfect thinking, every generation has its challenges. They'll figure it out, which is wildly optimistic, I would suggest.
How about you, Stacey?
I found this question very confronting. I remember watching this video for the first time, but the main reason I found it confronting is because I probably didn't interrogate that at all. And I think if you asked a lot of people, maybe definitely not in Gen Z, I think they are a lot more considered with their decision-making around whether to start a family or not. And we should say that this is not talking about people who choose to be child-free.
No, different.
The anti-natal movement, they're talking about regardless of whether you want one or not, you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But I think the millennials are probably the last generation that kind of just went along with, you know, that's what you do. You get married and you have a kid. The majority of us probably thought about what we wanted and not really so much around what would the state of the world be once we had those children. Do you feel the same? We're around the same age.
I reckon I did think about it. I had a moment with my family that I've talked about. They got trapped in a bushfire just before 2020, so end of 2019, and it was
Like summer fires.
Yep, an apocalyptic experience. They got trapped. The sky was black, red for days. Fridges were broken. I could barely contact them. Like, it was terrifying. And I've always been really engaged in discussions about climate change because it terrifies me and because, you know, obviously I believe in it. And then when
I believe in it.
I
can't believe we have to state that these days.
Table.
I think we all believe
well, that was
in it.
interestingly a lot of the comments on Abby's video was just I don't believe in it. And I was like, oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it? To just go, you know what, it's not true. Unfortunately, it is true. But I think I've come to the conclusion that not every decision is an intellectual one. And then I think what we try and do is intellectualize it after the fact. I know a lot of people in their 20s who say, I don't want children for this reason. A lot of my friends were exactly the same. They were going, I'm not bringing children into this world. And then you hit your mid-30s and something changes. And I'm not saying that even just anecdotally, statistically something changes. There is all this data that says for all the talk about climate and people saying that it terrifies them when it comes to having kids, the actual impact when people don't have kids, it might be because they don't have a partner or because that finances or whatever. Like generally.
But it is true that the birth rate is dropping.
It is.
But it's just not for this reason.
Yes. And I'm sure that there are absolutely going to be people listening who are like, that's why I didn't have them. But statistically, it's not as relevant as some other reasons. But another comment I saw on Abby Chatfield's video that I did resonate with me was that it's a radical act of optimism. And I've never been more future oriented. That is not to say people without children are not, but never been more future oriented since having Luna. And I think that it makes you, I always think that when Luna came along, I went from being a fundamental pessimist to an optimist because I had to be. Like I had to look at the future and go, things are going to be great. Whether or not I truly believe that.
Things are probably not going to be great in all kinds of ways, but on an individual level, you can look around and point to people who are really trying to do really good things, you know?
Yes.
And you can point to the just ordinary acts of kindness and generosity that are around you all the time that you suddenly become almost more aware of when you're forced into a community, you know, which you are when you have kids. One of the things that was really interesting about Bree's essay, which I thought was very even-handed in kind of exploring different ideas, is she had some experts in that saying that even the idea of an individual carbon footprint is kind of bullshit. That was invented to make us feel like it wasn't really the big coal-driven corporations who are screwing the world, but us and our decision whether or not to have a baby. And then there are on the other hand, she explored that people there are some very hardcore antinatalists who genuinely believe that human extinction is the only morally superior option. And that just feels like so.
Yes, there is something within this movement that feels so nihilistic and so despairing. And it reminded me of this essay I read about a term called despair signaling.
Right.
And it was saying that kind of, especially online, there's this smugness or this like trend of performing who can be the most hopeless and going, see, I saw this coming, or like looking at climate change or looking at horrific atrocities going on all over the world and being like, we're f***ed, and just basically putting your arms up. And I'm like, I just refuse to live like that. I mean, I don't think that we should play down how serious that climate change is here and that we're existing in it and that there are a lot of frontiers that people and governments need to be fighting on. But the second you throw your arms up is the second everyone gives up. Like that just feels so disgustingly pessimistic. Like the future, people are going to be around for the future whether or not you personally have children.
Yeah, and what I thought was really interesting that Bree spoke about in that essay as well was that a lot of Gen Z in particular cite climate change and reducing their emissions as a reason that they might not have children or they're considering not having children. But there's a 2024 Ipsos report that talks about like the three main ways you can reduce your carbon emissions. One of them is to have one fewer child.
Yeah.
So, okay, that probably explains why the birth rate's going down.
I like one fewer because I can have 3 and go, well, I could have had 4.
Exactly.
I could have 10 and go, I could have had 11.
Yeah. Or you can just take one of the ones that someone else didn't have. But the other two were to not have a car and to take one fewer flight. And I feel like both of those things are probably more achievable options or different options for people rather than just choosing to deny themselves a child if they want to have a child and feel like they could give a child a good life, right?
Yeah. And I really like what you were saying, Holly, about individualism, because Bree says in this essay that many people are annoyed by the idea that their most personal decision, which is whether or not to become a parent, is influenced by guilt for a scale of harm for profit no individual human brain can conceptualize. I'm actually not equipped. I feel like I can't take that on.
Exactly. And that's kind of what I mean when I say when I look at my kids and I think about this without wanting to downplay the seriousness of many terrifying things that are happening around the world, I just can't project that onto them. And I just have to imagine that to a certain point they will figure it out, as I say. But also I can see the appeal of the doom pull, right? Even though as a parent, I have to be optimistic, and there are lots of reasons to be optimistic, as I just said. And in my everyday life, there are plenty of reasons to be optimistic. But one of the things that I think is really appealing about the nihilistic view is because it does feel, we're all extremely online. We've talked about this lots of times. It does feel like everywhere you look, something is broken. So sometimes there's something actually comforting about somebody saying, yes, you're right. It is. Like, we're living in really difficult times. This is why you need a hypnotist boyfriend. Back to this.
True.
But so I can see the appeal of it.
You
but
know
I think
what?
once you are looking at the next generation and the next generation, a lot of things have improved.
And you know what? The doom tunnel, you don't got to do anything in it. Like,
Yeah,
once you've
it's
accepted,
apathetic.
once you've accepted doom, it's totally apathetic. The best climate scientists in the world will tell you, like, doom is not where we're at. They're not where they want us to be at. Like, I remember going to the Great Barrier Reef and speaking to these environmentalists and people who work there, and they were like, doom is our enemy. Like, that is the life support that they're going to pull out if we don't start to invest in hope here. So I quite like the idea of like choosing resistance. That doesn't mean that you're choosing kids, but there's also such to think that we are bad, we are born for suffering. I fundamentally don't agree with that. I'm going to choose a bit of joy.
My goodness, I never thought I'd see the day when my friend Jessie Stevens is the one choosing joy and hope. I love it about you.
I know.
I do want to say, though, I don't think there's anything wrong with having this conversation. I think it's all right for us to have any conversation.
It is, but don't you think too that we're talking pro-natalist, anti-natalist, these big,
It's
broad
not how we
economic
live our
policies.
lives.
It's just not how people exist. The choice to have a child is not. Maybe it is for some people. For me, it's not a philosophical or intellectual exercise. It is just something. I really like what Brie Lee says about, I want to do the morally right thing. Definitely
Of course,
want
none of
to.
us are willingly going against
Yeah.
that. We don't want to harm the planet, but that's not the main consideration when you're choosing to have a child.
Her final line is basically, it would be the most cynical conclusion of all that we are just mere animals beyond the reach of persuasion or philosophy. I don't think it's cynical. I think it's true. I think that's what I am, a mere animal.
Last weekend, we had a long weekend in many parts of Australia. And if you were lucky, you might have gone like to dinner with mates or on a weekend away. Like, I didn't because I'm not organised enough and I seem to forget every long weekend is coming.
I know, sorry, the Victorians listening are going to be like, I didn't get one. Well, you got one the week before.
Yeah.
Okay? We're
Yeah.
sharing them around.
We're
Everybody got
even.
one different
Do they
time.
get one for Melbourne Cup?
They get one for, they do, but they get one for the AFL Grand Final.
Oh, of course, yes.
So they
yes.
had one last weekend, and then I saw lots about Louders saying, because we obviously record this podcast in New South Wales, but it was the Labor Day holiday, and I saw Out Louders discussing why there wasn't an episode, and someone said, it was the NRL Grand Final, and I said, like, that was fun. It was a very good game, but it is not why we got a public holiday.
But there's a new trend if you want to be doing more weekends away with your mates that might make that more achievable. And that's that friend groups are now setting up joint savings accounts with the pure purpose of saving money to go and do more things together.
Clever.
So
smart, isn't it?
Tell me how that works.
Yeah,
Okay.
how does it work?
So on Mamamia, we ran a story about a woman, Kim Brindell, and she kind of laid out how they do it. So her and her 5 friends in her friendship group decided on $10 a week. They were like, they're all at different points in their career. Some are on mat leave. So they just wanted to kind of pick an achievable number that everyone can set and forget. They put $10 a week into this joint account. So at the end, you've got this nice pot of money. So you could go on a weekend trip away. You could use it just to go to dinner, whatever you want to use it for.
Oh, I like that.
It's great, right?
It's genius.
It kind of forces you into doing something. You've saved the money. Now the money's there. You've got to use it. And it stops the worst part of any group trip, which is the constant transferring of money between each other after the meals.
Okay, but what if we have a big falling out? What then?
Oh,
What like
You
this?
cut your
How
card
about
up?
how about financial abuse? Maybe someone could set up the bank account and then disappear. This is going to be the next Tinder swindler.
What happened to my hopeful little meerkat?
I know. Why are you being so pessimistic about this, Jessie?
I think this is genius because, as you say, Stacey. So I have this one girls' trip every year, and people always say, "Oh, I wish I did that," or "My mother's." But the only reason that happens is because it is locked in. You know what I mean? Like, it's in the calendar every year. It's not like a maybe, should we, where will we? It's like it's happening.
Yeah.
And this is a genius idea because for that very reason. And even if you don't go away, the idea that that's the fund that means that if you do go out for girls' dinner or whatever, that will pay for it, it takes that stress out of it. Because the worst thing about the group trip, if you do it, and it creeps up and suddenly it's like the flight's for $300 and that is not a moment when you've got $300.
Yeah.
Then that's the reason why you go, I can't do it.
And if you can't go away, you could use this for other things. Like you could just go on like a group shopping spree. You could just go to Mecca together, you know? Like it doesn't have to. Do you know how fun would that be to be like free money?
Joint shopping spree day.
Yeah. So there's lots of ways you could use this. And I just think everyone should do it. I'm setting one up immediately.
It's Friday, so we want to help set up your weekend with our very best recommendations. Stacey, why don't you go first?
Okay, I will. I'm busting to talk about this one. I want to recommend a show that I feel like has flown under the radar, so I don't know whether you'll have seen it, but I love it as much as I love Friends. Ooh. And that's a big call. Okay. I think it should be at that level. It's Shrinking.
Oh, I love Shrinking.
It's good, isn't it? Okay,
that's
Jessie.
the one with Harrison Ford and
yes.
thingy, what's his name, Jason?
Yes,
whatever.
Jason
one of the
Segel.
Jasons.
Yeah, Harrison Ford, Jason Segel, and it's written by my imaginary boyfriend, maybe yours too, Holly, in a weird crossover of our generations, Brett Goldstein, who plays Roy Kent on Ted Lasso. He wrote this show.
Why it's so good.
It's brilliant. And he actually comes in as a cameo. You'll have to look out for that.
And it's about, because I've seen a little bit of it, it's really warm. It's like a cuddle.
It is.
Someone's a psychologist.
All three of the main characters are psychologists that work in the same practice. So, but it's a kind of about their personal lives once they walk out of those sessions. And it's very fun and warm, but it's also a bit dark. Like Jason Segel's character has lost his wife and is dealing with the loss of his wife and like parenting his teenage daughter through that while he's struggling himself. So there is some darker themes to it, but it is just the best. And it's one of those shows that I think is a really good couples show. Yeah. Like if you find that you both have very different interests, this is a show that like crosses over on the Venn diagram.
And
I love it.
Where do you watch it?
It's on Apple.
Yep.
And it's up to there's 2 seasons out now and season 3 will come out later in the year or early next year.
We watched season 1 and I loved it. And then I think I watched like a couple of season 2, but then you know when shows just fall off your radar for no good reason? So you've reminded me. That's really good. So there's a whole second season in there.
Second season and then third will drop soon. So yeah, it came back onto my radar. I'm now obsessed and keep telling everyone to watch it.
Holly, how about you? What's your reco?
I have a self-serving reco this week because Mid is back, which is the other podcast that I do, which is Conversations for Gen X Women who are anything but mid, because obviously we're not mid at all. That's the joke of the title. It's clever. Anyway, God, what's happened to me? Anyway, we have come back with 6 new episodes and we've got 6 conversations with really kick-ass guests, and some of them are really sad and some of them are really funny and some of them are really helpful. But the one I want to recommend today is because this is personal for me, is that I'm really trying, after Jessie and Mia have been banging on about it for ages, to get my ass back into a gym routine and into exercise and into weights. And so we got Dr. Stacy Sims on. Now you might know her.
She's incredible.
Because she went completely viral when a few months ago, or maybe even almost a year ago, when she was on the Mel Robbins podcast.
We talked about her on Out Loud.
Yes, we did. We talked about her on Out Loud because she basically busted all these sort of myths that have been out there about women and exercise. And she says that, you know, so much of everything we just take for granted and the advice we take, whether it's all the way from intermittent fasting to cold plunging to this to that, might not be harmful or whatever, but the science is all the experimentation on it's been done by men. It's mind-boggling, really, when she gets into all that. But what's really helpful about this episode is if you're like me and your relationship with exercise and gym work, and this isn't true for all times in my life. I go through real phases, you know, when I'm like really into it, loving it sick, feeling fantastic, then it falls off my radar, and then it just feels like such a punish to get back to it. She's very much about letting go of all that bad energy around it and that sort of whipping yourself in the gym, like working yourself to the bone. She has really practical, smart advice about what you should do. She's really practical. She's really feisty. I love her. She's also the one who went viral for saying that women shouldn't exercise first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. And she told everyone to make protein coffee. And that went crazy, and she tells me all about that. I haven't got around to that yet. Anyway, if you're like me and you're trying to literally find your way back to the gym, seems to have fallen off your internal GPS. This episode with Dr. Stacy Sims is really good, and it's in your feed if you search Mid.
I really, really like her. I could listen to her talk all day. My recommendation, something a bit different. So I have been house sitting at Mia's while she's been away.
Oh, this
perks. And I came into work the other day and I said, guys, I have terrible news. And that is that I have believed for my whole life that expensive hair care is a ruse. It's absolute, like, you don't need the fancy stuff. You need your just supermarket.
Yeah.
Someone told me that once and I've lived by it, right? And so
Lee Campbell, she used to tell everybody that.
Yeah.
She used to say cheap shampoo's the go.
Yeah. And I went, oh no, because I have been using like the hairspray with the 15% extra that you get that's basically just chemicals. I've been using that for forever. Anyway, I go to Mia's and the woman, if you want to know what her current hyperfixation is, it's hair care. Because I walked in and went, wow, they are a lot of products, right? Just for everything.
And these are the ones she's left behind.
They're the ones she left behind. I don't know what she's taken, but I was like, okay, well, she'd want me to use it, and she would. And I had Claire's book launch the other week, and I kind of did a little curl in my hair, and I was like, what shall we use? And I thought, oh, a Kevin Murphy. There we go. I'll treat myself and I'll use a Kevin Murphy called Bedroom Hair. And I used it. Lovely smell. And
is it like a serum,
texturizing spray?
Oh, spray.
And I recognized the smell because I went, oh, this is what, when I've had my hair done for TV and stuff, this is what they've used.
Yeah.
So it must be really good. And I went and I was like, it didn't have the crunchy, and I always have the crunchy thing. And then I kind of brush it out and it falls and whatever. But I was like, oh, this is holding really, really well. And then I went to bed that night, woke up, Victoria's Secret Angel. I was like, I look amazing. And I came to work and I was like, I think I look amazing. It held, I think it would have held for days, right? Like it was so good.
Oh my God.
And when I use like, you know, supermarket hairspray, it is like the next day, it's not pretty.
Yeah,
like it's wiry and it's just like I've got to wash it to get all the gunk out. But this is, I looked it up because I didn't purchase it. It's $49.95, which feels like a lot for a texturizing spray, but it is so worth it.
And do you have to do you have to use a lot to make it happen?
Oh no, like a tiny little bit.
That's great.
And it's like you wouldn't even need it on a curl, but like even if you were just doing the front of your hair and you wanted to kind of get a little bit of volumizing or something, it's really good. And I've also been doing, I had to wear a white shirt the other night and I had foundation on and I used Mia's hairspray trick.
Oh.
Because she says that you have to spray hairspray on your collar so that you don't get makeup on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good trick.
But yeah, so I've been using all her products and they're really good.
I love it. Amazing. Oh, homework.
Oh, yes, give us our homework.
Out Louders, this won't be any surprise coming from me, but the Victoria Beckham documentary is out on Netflix now. And we are dying to talk about it, but we want you to all have watched it so that we can talk about it together.
You haven't even watched it and you've come in with theories about radical acceptance.
Radical acceptance. I've told you all about it. This is what we'll be talking about next week, friends. I bet you any money. Anyway, you need to go and watch the Victoria Beckham documentary so that we can all hold hands and talk about it together next week. You know it's going to make my week. I could just...
We're giving you a whole weekend, like you got time.
I'm excited. A massive thank you to all of you Out Louders for being with us here on today's show and for being with us all week. And to our fabulous team for helping us put it together. Read us out, won't you?
Our group executive producer is Ruth Devine. Executive producer is Sasha Tannick. Our senior audio producer is Leah Porges.
Video producer is Josh Green. And our junior content producers are Coco and Tessa. Bye.
Bye.